Thank you, guys. I named this Digital Marketing 1, now it's your turn, for a reason. Digital marketing actually did win, right? If anyone in this room is debating whether TV or newspaper or radio is the way where you should be putting your money today, unless you've got an unlimited budget, you need to stop asking that question and stop thinking that way. The debate is completely over. The brands that don't adopt are going out of business left and right. And those brands are way bigger than you guys. They're very successful companies who were doing everything right, but didn't understand that people's attention had moved. So they kept resting on what got them to where they were, and they are gone. And these are massive companies with great products, and some of them even great service. So I'm excited to be here. This is a kind of a cool thing to me that we have this large, humongous show from overseas that's coming to the US, and hopefully with a completely different flair, maybe a different value proposition for you guys. I know that's what I look at it as. I think, you know, everybody in this industry, including myself, and I grew up in the industry, has been doing things the same way for a long time. And it's kind of put our industry at a disadvantage, I think, to other industries. So again, I'm John Weller. Some fun facts. I grew up in a carpet mill. That sounds really crazy, but I just about did. My father was the vice president of Bigelow Carpets for 25 years. I spent like my entire life hanging out at the carpet mill, taking naps on rolls of carpet, and watching all the things that happen at a carpet mill. I've worked in every single department in a carpet mill. So when I got out of school, my dad told me, the last thing I want you to do is get into the carpet business. So I got into the wine business, which was amazing. And as fate had it, I was at a basketball game and sat next to a guy named David Holt. I was 22 years old. David was 25 years old. And David told me he had just bought a carpet mill. And we hit it off during the basketball game, and I ended up working with David to start One to Weave Carpet. And that's where I got to work in every single department of the carpet mill, which was not fun, but I learned a lot. Came back in my life to help me a lot. And the last fun fact, which I did not put on this presentation, because I wasn't sure if I was going to do this or not. So I've also started a Facebook page that is a personal page, not like a page that you would start on your own. It's a page that's more of a company or a brand. And the reason I'm doing that, I've got a lot of the people that do business with us like me on Facebook. And they see a lot of the pizza I eat, and they see my dog, and they see a lot of other things. And I thought, you know what? I think these people probably liked me more to find out things that are business related. And now that Facebook is such a nice channel to talk to you guys, I'm going to launch that page today, and I'm going to start posting a whole bunch of content on it that's more about what happens in the day-to-day life of John Weller at FloorForce interacting with you guys. Because I think, when I think about it, we get 38,000 phone calls a month from dealers asking questions. And when you aggregate those questions, it's about 10 questions. So if we start making videos around those 10 questions and how we're answering those questions, hopefully it'll help you guys to get the information real time as it's happening, as other dealers are asking the same questions or other manufacturers are asking the same questions. Again, I named this Digital Marketing 1, now it's your turn. When I named this article had not come out, but thank God it did. So this was announced on the 20th. Digital ad spend will surpass non-traditional this year. And if you look at the graph going into 2020, it's blowing traditional out of the water. Why is that? It's because people are waking up. As you see companies falling by the wayside left and right, you also see other companies that weren't even here 3 years ago with billion-dollar valuations right in the backyard to the same audience of the companies that are going out of business because they recognize something. where people's attention was and how to connect to them. I know this is probably a negative slide to show in this room, but I think it's important because these guys recognized it also. These guys went through a real turbulent time, and I think a lot of small businesses and a lot of businesses can associate with that. But anyway, they made it through. But if you read what it said in their last stock report, if you really want to learn about what's going on in the industry with some of these big guys, great place to go is into their earnings reports and into what the CEOs are saying about these companies. But these guys have completely changed their marketing. They're moving a very large percentage of their budget from traditional to digital. And they even talk about reducing their overhead by cutting their traditional, adding to their bottom line. But I think what's really interesting, if you read through this article, and by the way, guys, I'll share this slide deck with any of you guys. At the end, I'm going to show a QR code. If you take a picture of it, you can text me and I'll send you the slide deck. But one of the things that the CEO said in the earnings call is flooring used to be a very price competitive industry. But today it's all about marketing. And I think that you guys really need to pay attention to that. These guys advertise 19-cent floors or whatever it is. It's crazy. But when you look at their earnings report, their average selling price is in the $5 range. And they say specifically, marketing is everything. So I think this puts things in perspective. Yesterday, I was coming over here to check this place out and see where I was going to be speaking. And the guy that was driving me over here and I got into a conversation. Have you guys also look at the mindset that has to happen for everybody in this room to go to the next level? This was me and the guy driving me here yesterday.
Some things about it is good, some things about it is bad. And there's a lot of bad and good.
I will tell you this, my man. You said you're 58?
Yes.
The internet has created an opportunity for people that are, I would say, 40 and above. And the internet has eliminated the middleman. Literally, if you think about business and a lot of things before, there had to be somebody that had to let you in to get your voice heard or to get your product out there, to get your music out there, to get whatever it was, whatever you were doing. There was a middleman that was going to make a decision in an interview or whatever it was, whether you were going to have the opportunity. But if you think about it, the internet has eliminated the middleman. So guys like you and me, I'm 52, literally what we're able to do today is take our experience and leverage the internet and the platforms like Facebook and Google and Instagram. And there is no middleman. If the consumer or the person that we're talking to likes what they hear, they will consume it. If they consume it, the algorithms on these platforms will continue to show our content more and more and more. And guess what? Before you know it, you've got leverage to do whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah. Something, I've never thought of it that way, And of course, the only thing when I see the internet, it's just so many mean people on the internet.
That's exactly. I mean, the problem is it levels the playing field and allows everybody to get their voice heard.
Yeah.
The good news is the algorithms look for consumption. And unfortunately, sometimes hate and bad things do get consumed a lot. So the algorithm pushes that content up. But from a business perspective, the internet has leveled the playing field for anybody to have a chance. And us guys who have a lot of experience and have a perspective on how the world really is before the internet and what it takes to get things done, we can leverage the internet to make things happen much faster than ever possible before.
That makes so much sense. And I never thought of it that way. And you're right. You are.
I appreciate that. Well, I hope you do something with that because it's not all negative.
You're right. You're right about that. You get good things from it, just like I said, but I think about that some more. I really do. Thank you, man.
Sure, buddy. So I think that really, in my mind, was really awesome that happened on the way here. But, you know, I talk to a lot of retailers, and a lot of people tell me what their thoughts are about what's happening and how it differs with how they were brought up or how things happened before. I get it, but your customers don't care. Your customers want the information. They want to get their problem solved, and they don't care what any of us think about what the internet's doing. And I think if you really think about it, guys, the internet can be leveraged anywhere you want it. And you really should be taking advantage of it. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. As I said to him, and I meant it, and it's true, those of you that know the world before the internet have an advantage over the people who don't. Okay? They don't really understand what it was like to get things done pre-internet. So things are really easy, right? Until you get behind the scenes and you actually are doing some of these things, building a house or doing whatever. If you can leverage your knowledge and what you have with the internet, you almost can't lose right now because the internet makes it so incredibly easy to connect. This is what changed my mindset. So as I evolved in my career in the floor covering business, I got a job after One to Weave with World Carpets. And in 1994, I was handed this beauty. And I can tell you that I was the youngest rep in the company. And I went to the sales meeting, and I can tell you that most of the people that got these, most of the salespeople that got the beeper, were not happy about it. They were like, Big Brother is now tracking me. What is this? I've got to answer to this little black box. I've been doing really, really good selling rolls of carpet, driving around to each carpet store. I have a great life. What is that? So I remember getting my first beep. I was a rep in Florida, and you had to drive down 75 in Florida. A payphone was a minimum of a 30-minute drive from I-75. You had to get off the interstate, go down one of those exits, find a city, then find a payphone. And in Florida, if you don't know, in the summer, it's hot and it rains every single day. So I'm getting a beep. And at first, when I started to get beeps, I have dealers checking out, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, man, I just got 30 minutes off the road and you're asking me what I'm doing? I'm answering your beep. But you know, what happened was the expectation changed. Retailers started to really understand that they could now contact a rep anytime they wanted to instantly by beeping them. So I remember the first beep that meant something, and it was a guy asking for a 32-ounce green emerald wear-dated carpet. And I remember this dealer specifically stocked a whole bunch of carpet from Columbus Carpet Mills, and he wouldn't give me any stock. But I also know that we produced a 32-ounce wear-dated to go after that specific product that this guy stocked. So, of course, I was happy he called me and he said, hey, they have no stock. Do you have it? I said, absolutely. So this is before you could text a picture. So I had the mill FedEx him a sample, and I got an order. So it dawned on me as more and more texts started coming in that behind those texts were orders. That the intent behind these communications were orders. That's how you could make more money faster if you responded faster. So I made a humongous investment, huge in two ways. One, those phones were about $1,500 back then. And for a guy making what I was making, that was like buying a car. And they were massive, right? That thing was gigantic. It had a cord. They were hilarious. They were dangerous in the car if you took a swerve or anything. They're flying around. But that took me from the youngest, most inexperienced rep at World Carpets to the #1 rep in the country. That combination right there took me from $2 million in sales, driving around like a madman, trying to meet with dealers who were busy doing 18 other things, to only answering beeps at the time of the intent to buy something instantaneously. I sold $6 million the first year I had that combination. I was the #1 sales rep in the country for 4 years. What astonished me was that same sentiment of the salespeople who were pissed off about the beeper, they didn't see it. It was right there in front of them. I'm winning every award. I'm getting up. They were making me go on stage saying, "How are you doing it?" I would tell them, "This is how I'm doing it." But guess what? 99% of those other reps never did it. They kept driving around in circles with their samples, asking me how I'm doing it. Every year I get on stage, "This is how I'm doing it." So guys, it's a mindset. Whatever that mindset is that's blocking you changing, it has to go away, because it's pretty practical when you look at it. I will tell you that when I prepared this presentation, as almost always happens, you learn a heck of a lot, right? I did a lot of Googling. So I'm going to go on a tangent here that's a little off where I was going to go when I started this, but I think it's extremely relevant. Getting someone's full attention in 2019 is not the same as it was in the past, as of even 3 months ago. The marketing and sales strategies that we've been using in digital marketing for a long time are starting to show problems, flaws. Did anybody see any flaw in that right there off the top of your head? I'll tell you what it is. What's the smallest thing on that screen? The customer. That will no longer work. So in the past, from 1990 to 2006, the place to put all of your resources was in the salespeople. Why was that? Salespeople held the knowledge that the consumer wanted to get to. And that was if you had great salespeople and you could get people to those salespeople, you win. End of story. They were the experts. The consumer needed that information to make a decision to buy something, and your salespeople had it. End of story. That's how you won. From 2006 to 2018, salespeople were now reduced to about 20% of the transaction. 80% of time of the consumer was spent online. So if you did a really good job with your website, and a consumer could really get the information they were looking for with the product catalog and the information and how the process was going to work, and you did a really good job driving traffic with Google, you were probably pretty successful. But things are changing. In 2019, the user experience is what is driving consumers. Not the price, not even the salespeople, not even your website. And I sell websites. But the user experience is what's driving people. I can tell you, when I made this, every single one of those brands right there, I have used in the last 48 hours. And it wasn't because it just happened to be in front of me. It's because the companies did a really good job either changing the way I was doing things, as in Delta, which is wickedly awesome with their app today. If you buy something on Delta, you buy a flight, first of all, you never talk to a human being. It's the best. But then it updates you all the way. Time to check in. They're boarding your plane. Your bag's on the plane. Your bag's off the plane. You're in carousel number 4. Dude, I get on Delta, I'll avoid everybody because of that. Lyft, been taking Lyfts all over town. Harry's Razors, a subscription. I've never had to buy a razor in 3 years. They just come in the mail. Rocket Mortgage. Sounds insane. It's the best mortgage experience of your life. It's paperless. You literally can buy a house with no paper in 30 minutes with that company. It's mind-blowing if you've ever done it the old way. Allbirds Shoes. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these shoes. I don't have them on, I thought I did. But Allbirds Shoes is a 3-year-old company that came out with one SKU of products in a very competitive field. They went head-to-head with Nike, Adidas, you name it. They have a $1.3 billion valuation today. One SKU, a few colors, and they did every single bit of their marketing on Facebook alone. Purple Mattress. So you get the idea. User experiences are driving people to use brands, and price becomes secondary, even selection becomes secondary. So how did this happen? How did we get here? That guy. That guy thought this through. Steve Jobs says, listen, everything that you do in this world was built by somebody just like you. No smarter than you, built just like you. And just because everyone's saying it can't be better, that's 100% not true. So don't live by anybody else's opinions. Understand everything can be better. Pretty much the essence of what that says. So this is where we are. This phone and everybody that uses it has now found the utilities that all these apps are giving us, right? The Delta app, the McDonald's app is amazing, believe it or not. All these things. So when you look at your phone, look at the apps on it. There's really going to be two things you're going to see. Apps for utility and apps for entertainment. But this doesn't leave your hand. And doing anything in your life without this and leveraging an app on it is going to take you 10 times longer than if it's been optimized for this. It's the world we live in. So I'm going to kind of give you an example here of high friction versus low friction. And that's really what we're talking about. Optimizing the user experience to take the friction out so that they see what the end game looks like or where they want to be, and they pull the trigger without calling 19 other people. So Mattress Firm, they're full service. You have to talk to a person. You're going to have to go into that showroom. You're going to have to confront that person who's probably going to make you look at 19 mattresses before you get to get the one that actually interests you at the price range. 9 to 5, that's not exactly accurate. I'm just giving you a ballpark. They're all different. And you have to buy it first. Purple Mattress, low friction, self-service. You never talk to a human being. You can learn every single thing about that mattress better than a salesperson could ever teach you about that mattress. Online, 24/7, when you actually have time and you can focus and you want to be looking at mattresses, and they let you try it before you buy it. They've taken all the friction out of this. And again, they're disrupting a very, very big industry that a lot of people said, no way, man. No one's buying a mattress before you lay on it. You got Casper, you got Lisa, you got Purple. Guess what? They're laying on them. I mean, they're buying them before they lay on them. This is also very interesting, guys. So when I was doing the research for this talk, I Googled Purple Mattress. There's 5 reviews here in the top of Google's reviews. 3 of them talk about the user experience. 3 of them out of 5. It means more than the price. It means more than the product. The user experience meant more to these people enough that they went online and left a review and mentioned the user experience. These are the companies that are winning. Why is that? User-generated content is now the most important content that matters. And when they say that, that's a marketing term that we all use when we're talking amongst each other. It means reviews. Customer feedback about your product is user-generated content. Consumers trust reviews 12 times more than manufacturer or retailer propaganda that we put out about ourselves on our websites. 12 times, meaning pretty much what you say about yourself is irrelevant. What the consumer says about you is all that freaking matters. 51% trust user-generated content over information on the company site or articles about the company. Half of millennials use user-generated content more than friends or family. So if that doesn't tell you what's important right this very minute, reviews. How do you get reviews? You're gonna have to delight these customers. You're gonna have to give them a user experience that they feel warrants them going on and leaving content about you. That's gonna take some work. It's one thing to get the reviews, right? We can all try harder at getting reviews, but how are we gonna get these people so enamored and amazed at the way we service them that they do that? And talk about the experience even over the product. How do people evaluate the trustworthiness of a product or a seller? And it goes down the line. Price is in the middle. The quality of the photos online is actually pretty high. Higher than price. Reviews is by a mile above everything else. The star ratings. And the platform and the website itself is almost equal to price. So, the images of the products you're trying to sell, the website itself, and reviews. Just remember that. The next time you're bringing a manufacturer's products into your showroom, a distributor's products into your showroom, do they check those boxes, guys? Because price doesn't freaking drive it. It's the digital imagery and the digital marketing that they give you. If you're relying on price to win today, you're going to lose. I know that this has been, like, a lot of what I'm talking about revolves around user experiences and e-commerce companies. I thought this was interesting. The #1 brand for user experience, according to 1,800 consumers who are in a dynamic that are spending a lot of their income, have a lot of expendable income, Trader Joe's was #1. So the user experience is not an e-commerce only experience. Just want to make that point. What I would say is the user experience playbook for 2019, make sure that 100% of your team understands and is on board with reducing friction points and creating an incredible user experience. Eliminate detractors. But a lot of people say things like this: my salespeople won't do that. They won't use the internet. They won't use email. They won't use a CRM. I can tell you that's a recipe for disaster. The response should be, our customer will no longer deal with you if you won't use email, if you won't use a CRM, if you don't get instantly back to them, we're out of the game. Because other people will. Other companies will. Take the time and understand and evaluate the consumer's total shopping and buyer journey with your company, and then test it against your competition. And ask yourself, who would I buy from? Who would my wife buy from? Who would my friends buy from? Run through the entire process. Have somebody even do this, outside. Leave an email for your sales team at 11 o'clock at night. How long did it take to get back? Do the same thing with Empire. Do the same thing with these other companies, and tell me what you think is going to happen. Because if you can't say we're going to win, you're not. Period. Look for any and all areas where you can reduce friction and improve a consumer's experience. Remember that your customers have changed, guys. They have no patience. They've been Uberized. Every single customer we have has been Uberized. Learn about and leverage the tools that are available to better connect you to your target audience before, during, and after the sale. Again, your experience and the assets that you have at your disposal leveraging that with technology, you win over a lot of these companies, especially these e-commerce companies. Instead of going head to head with them, which gives you no advantage, leverage what you have that they don't have with technology and you win. Back to the digital playbook. It really is reduced down to 2 companies right now that matter for most of you guys in this room. If you look at it, Facebook's on its way to $1 trillion company, right? The average consumer, especially the ones we're going after, go on it something like 40 times a day. So that's where the consumer's eyeballs are. If you want to tell a story, that's the place to do it. You want to introduce yourself, that's the place to do it. Yesterday, I had a discussion with a group of retailers, and a lot of them were like, all I care about is conversions. Well, I can tell you guys, that is like saying all I care about is touchdowns. Yeah, so does every football player on the field, but you've got to block and tackle. You've got to do those other things. Facebook is a marketing platform. It allows you to introduce yourself, tell your story at a very, very reduced cost to other platforms like TV. And Google is a sales tool that allows you to get in front of consumers at the very moment they're going to try to make a purchase. You have to understand the difference, because if you don't, you're just tapping people on the shoulder all day long going, hey, you want to buy some flooring? And yes, they did raise their hand and say it. It's still weird and creepy. It's better to have introduced yourself first before you ask somebody to buy something from you. And if you are Ninja and you really want to get into this, both these companies have sister companies that are amazing that you can also leverage, being Instagram and YouTube. If you focused the resources that you can on these 4 things and did what is correct to do on these platforms, you will win. You'll win. There is no silver bullet, but if you use these platforms the correct way, you will win. Checking the box and doing it the wrong way, though, doesn't do anything for you. So, again, it's as simple as this. Those 2 platforms, driving traffic to your website better give a good user experience. If you don't have a product catalog and the consumer can't get answers to what she's looking for, and I will challenge this audience, if she can't see pricing, you're probably losing out a little bit here. And again, I know this is a debate. The whole industry is debating it, especially the retailers. But I got to tell you, the data can't be lying. All these companies like Floor and Decor and Lumber Liquidators and all these companies show their prices. It doesn't deter people from going there, right? They're showing $8 acacia. People still go to that store. Yes, they advertise free labor and 79 cents, but read their stock reports. That's not what they're selling. It's just what they're advertising. And then it really looks like this. Marketing on Facebook, selling on Google to your website, drives them to your store. That's a better experience than anything that's going to happen online. You win. One thing I just want to clear up, because I have this conversation with so many retailers. Your website is not digital advertising, okay? Your website is your online showroom, but that is not digital advertising. Don't think it is. Do not go to sleep at night thinking, I'm advertising. No, you're not. Your online showroom's open, but you are not advertising. You're not driving people to it. So what about these? Everyone's getting hit up by the Yelp rep or whoever and houses and surfaces, and I don't know if they're here. I will tell you this, guys. These are the biggest websites in the world. If you are not owning and saturating your backyard on the most important platforms, the consumer does not give a crap if you're on Pinterest and Houzz, if you're not in the place where they are most of the time. So don't spend a dime there unless you literally own 70% of the attention on the important platforms. This is a case study that we did. I don't know if these guys are here or not. I know they were here yesterday. But this is an interesting case study that I think, again, I'll share this guy with you guys. This is a customer of ours who does a whole bunch of TV advertising, a ton, and does a considerable amount of AdWords or Google Ads with us. And just for the heck of it, I finally talked them into giving me 10% of their TV budget to run on Facebook simultaneous to and right before a Memorial Day sale that we ran. We've been doing business with these guys for 8 years, so we have a pretty good data set of what the outcome is going to be at a given time. We ran Facebook for a week before the sale and all during the sale. We lowered the cost of lead on Google by 76%. For the very first time, he had 5.6 thousand people in his market watch a 30-second video while his ad was running, which makes tapping on the shoulder and say, will you buy from me, a lot less creepy. And for $1,700 extra in advertising, he got 80 leads. That's an ROI I'm sure all of you guys would love to have. Now, again, we've been running AdWords with this guy for 7 years. We've optimized him amazingly. We know his market extremely well, but we've also pixeled his website. We've been building up an audience on Facebook, and I couldn't wait to show him what was going to happen. And guess what? We now have almost all his TV budget, and it works really well. So this is a secret slide that's never been shown to anybody on the planet that we created. If you guys can see that, I'm gonna end with this. And so, again, this is basically what the digital landscape looks like for a retailer. Okay, you've got your website presence, which hopefully you're doing some advertising for in one way or another. Even if it's mailers, at least it's driving some business to your website. Drive leads, happy customers, profit. You get some referrals, profit goes back in, and you got a little bit of manufacturer help too, right? Everything starts to expand right here. More customers are seeing you, hearing about you, more leads are coming in, and you see what this looks like. You can actually add post-sale engagement, right? Which is just targeting people that have bought from you, letting them know that there's a friend and family program, thanking them, which just keeps you top of mind so they talk about you more. And guys, if you play it big and you go all in on digital, leverage the manufacturers that actually have programs. You can get a nice source of leads from those programs. You can build out your retail presence the way it should be and advertise it. A directory site is a really good idea. So I know some people building one of those, which again expands your horizon. But you see what this looks like? And again, this is where it's going, guys. This is the retailer landscape. But understand, I could change this really simply by putting a manufacturer up on top of that, or 2 or 3. And they understand that if they push their content and talk to consumers down here and you guys make sales with their product, it brings it back up. There's more co-op. So I'm gonna leave with this. It's time to go all in on digital. The debate is freaking over. And I know a lot of you guys are like, no, TV works. Yeah, a lot of things work. Smoke signals still work. It doesn't mean it's the right way to reach customers at scale today. Things have changed. Get your entire organization to be fanatical about improving the user experience. Leverage your experience in existing infrastructure with technology, and partner only with companies that give you an obvious advantage to today's consumer. So I think it's really important, guys, that you are selective, not just in the software companies that you buy from, but the manufacturers you buy from. Because I can tell you, I work with thousands of you guys, and you say, hey, I just got this cool rack, this product's awesome, it's 10 cents less than so-and-so. They have no images. They have no content. Nobody cares about those products, okay? Except for you and the rep that sold you the stuff. That's it. So guys, again, My name is John Weller. If you take a picture of that QR code, you can text me. I'll text you back. I'll send you the deck. It's 2019, guys. Act like it. Thank you.